Hey guys, how's it going? So today I'm going to do a video that answers some questions that I get pretty often when it comes to scalloped fretboards. I want to talk about what is a scalloped fretboard and what are the pros and cons of it. What does it allow you to do that other fretboards don't? Okay, so first of all, made famous by Yngwie Malmsteen, the fantastic neoclassical guitarist. A scalloped fretboard is basically where the wood underneath the strings between the frets has been carved out. So between each fret there's this sort of concave space in there where it dips down instead of just being flat like a regular fretboard. Now, because of that, what ends up happening is when you put your fingers on the strings, your fingers are just resting on the strings and they never actually touch the wood underneath of the fretboard. Now, that is kind of the purpose of the scalloped fretboard, but what that allows you to do is it really frees up the ability of your fingers to move and move the strings around. So when it comes to things like bending and vibrato, it's really, really great. There's no wood underneath your fingers to prevent your fingers from moving or, drag against your fingers or anything like that. So you can do these really crazy bends and really easy vibrato. Now, of course, you can do a nice vibrato without a scalloped fretboard, but when you do have it scalloped, it gets all the wood out of the way. It makes it so much easier and just kind of, gives you a lot more control over the expression of the notes you play. Okay, now something that's really important to point out, contrary to popular belief, a scalloped fretboard does not make playing fast any easier. It really doesn't make any difference at all, and if you're going from playing a non-scalloped fretboard to a scalloped one, it's probably going to slow you down, at least in the beginning, until you get used to the feel of it. One thing I notice actually when I'm switching between the two is when I'm shifting my hand around on this under part, the underside edge of the neck, you feel like this sort of like bump, 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 bump against your hand as you're moving it up and down the neck. And that, it takes a little bit of getting used to, and you kind of have to relax your hand a little bit when you shift around. Now that really brings us to the downsides to the scalloped fretboard. And the main problem is when you're playing chords, it's really easy to bend the notes out of tune in the chord. You have to use a very light touch with your left hand. And it's typical that you might be pressing down harder on one string than another when you're playing a chord. And if you're doing that, you're going to end up bending the notes out of tune, which is really the biggest drawback to a scalloped fretboard. It forces you to play with a very light touch. And if you've already been playing for a long time and you're used to playing pretty aggressively or really just mashing the chords out, you're going to have a hard time if you try to transition to a scalloped fretboard. Now personally, I really like the scalloped fretboards and I wish more guitars came with them. Aside from an Yngwie Malmsteen signature guitar from Fender or one of the knockoff guitars like this one, there really aren't very many production guitars that come with scalloped fretboards. So, there are a few exceptions, like the Steve Vai Gem signature guitar has the top 4 frets scalloped, and there's a few other guitars that are like that, where some of the frets are scalloped, but not all of them. Actually, even the Billy Sheehan signature bass has some scalloped frets on, which is pretty cool. Alright guys, so have you ever played a scalloped fretboard? And if so, what did you think of it? I'd love to see what you guys think in the comments section below. As always guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll talk to you soon.